So I was thinking that when I first started a whopping 3.5 weeks ago, one of the things I did is before I wanted to go live, I wanted to make sure I had at least a handful of people following me. Atlanta, Georgia, what's up? You're just a baby. I know, 3 weeks. Me too, though. Right, Ethan. Um, Jeff is in Illinois. It's awesome. So when I first started, I wanted to at least have a handful of people so that when I went live, I could hope that there were some people actually getting a notice that I was going live. Now, I wasn't going to click the location icon, so I wouldn't be found on the map. And there are people that like that, but I didn't want people to have my exact direct address, so I decided not to do that. So instead, I decided to find ways to get people to be following me, so that I could have a big kind of, even if it was 5 people in the room, I wanted to have somebody that was getting notified that I was going to start. So here's the 3 things that I did to make it so that I could have that. Now, when I started, I had somewhere between about 60 and 100 people the first time I finally went live on camera. Let's get the hearts going. Hey, thanks so much. Same here, only use the location function when I'm out and about. Yeah, for example, I went to a musical star from the 80s, Howard Jones, a couple of nights ago, and I was up in Park City, and yeah, I totally turned on the location thing so that anybody could see me, just to see what would happen. But at home, I didn't want to do that. So again, so when I started, I had that, I don't know, 65, 70 people, so that when I went live, boom, about, I don't know, 20 or 30 people came in on my first broadcast, or at least that's how much it was showing down with the little Perry guy down in the corner, Perry icon, some people are calling it. And so here's one of the things that I did. The first thing I did was I told everyone on all of the social media platforms that I'm on. So I told everybody on Twitter. I have a small following on Google Plus. I didn't even care. I told people on Google Plus to follow me. Right, like to say that I'm going to start doing this Periscope thing, and I would say, oh, here's some of the things I think I'm going to talk about. I'm not even sure yet, but you should totally come follow me and watch and comment and let's chat. And I told them on LinkedIn. I mean, I almost never use LinkedIn. I don't even know how many people I have on LinkedIn, but I put it on LinkedIn, and of course I did it on Twitter, Facebook, and anywhere I could. And as a side note, if you already have a business, definitely email your people and let them know too. Let's see, I had 3 in my first broadcast. Yeah, it'll be this will be more awesome to hear about. And Ethan says, I've changed my bio on other social media to say follow me on Periscope at the beginning. Yeah, that's something I'm doing as well. I noticed a lot of new users limiting their broadcast comment function. Yeah, that's, I don't know why they would do that. For me, it's all about the interaction, being able to read the comments and for us to connect that way. I had one in my first broadcast, Ethan saying, ha, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, and it's funny because I wanted to at least have that handful of people knowing I was there. So also your email list, if you happen to already have a business, and really I'm going to try and give these tips to people that have that business. Let your email list know that you're going to be doing this thing. Let them know that they can ask you questions. It's live. We're going to go back and forth. And that was one of the ways, too, I was able to at least have about 60, 70 people following me when I first started. And let's see, one more thing I was going to mention about that. Oh, and also, if you happen to have a podcast, too, we just did a podcast episode on InternetBusinessMastery.com all about how excited my co-host and I are about this whole Periscope thing. Now, that was after we started. We didn't get that out in time for me to be able to do my first scope here. But since then, that has helped me go from, that maybe 63 weeks ago to having about 700 or so people now. This app is new to me. We're technologically behind here in my town. Well, I'm only three weeks ahead of you, so you're not too far behind, I'll tell you that. But one of the other things that I did to be able to help people, especially like you that have not done this Periscope thing yet, is right away I created this page, and I'm going to show you. And I suggest that you do this as well when you're trying to get people to sign up and follow you through Periscope. And let me show you what it is. Here, I'll show you the URL for it first. All right, here we go. epicjair.com/join me. If you want to see this live as we're doing it, you can watch on the screen. I'm going to show you on the screen as well. But here's what I created to try and help people who hadn't even done Periscope. I wanted them to be able to follow me, and be excited about this new thing. So let me get it up on the screen for you. Okay. All right, so here's just this simple little join me on Periscope page that I had made, and you can see right away I show them how to download the app first, and then I just did little screen grabs of how to do this. And you can see, join the little group icon down there. I didn't even know what it was called. Then click this little search icon up here, type in my name, and then I showed me already there with the little plus next to it. Next one, I show it clicked. Boom, that's it. I made it just as simple as possible. I wonder if going back further helps. No. And then I also mentioned that if they're not already following me on Twitter, to follow me on Twitter. Now, I do have about 30,000 people on Twitter, so that was obviously useful as well. And then one thing that I'm having built tonight, it's already a little bit built, is I talked to them about joining my different Facebook communities, which is one of the kind of main things I'm doing with drawing people from this whole Periscope app to the Facebook groups so that I can give more value in the Facebook groups. But yeah, I was able to do this page, and this helped people who actually already know how to use Periscope, hadn't even downloaded the app. I wanted something very clear, simple, and easy that they could be able to, go to and do it in 30 seconds, in 2 minutes, boom, they're not only on Periscope, but they're following me. So at least they're following one person, me. Now I think it automatically makes you follow Periscope, but they would have 2 people. So right there, that's one of the things. Now I'm also even going to do a little video on how to make sure they're getting notifications and some other things like that. But yeah, I wanted it to be as simple as possible, and I wanted them to have no excuse not to at least come see my first scope. So that was one of the things. Now, obviously, if you don't have a whole lot of people following you in social media or any of that kind of stuff, I wanted to tell you a couple of other things to do. And the first one is make sure in your profile, make sure that you use keywords that based on what you're going to talk about or what your business is about. Have you ever used Periscope to man, I totally missed it. I think it was something to do with to replace a webinar. Now I still do actually a lot of webinars. We make a lot of money with webinars, but I think this is more of a connection tool so that when I do finally do a webinar, which I'm going to do in maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I'll probably mention that in here for people to go sign up for that if they want to see the webinar. That's something for sure I'm going to do. Periscope replacing webinars. I don't know about that. I think the closest thing to something that might replace it would be blab.im. So that might be something that I would look at. What about the headlines for each scope, keywords? I don't know. I mean, obviously that's going to be good to draw in people right then, and when it gives notifications to your people, then you've got keywords in there to go, oh, okay, they're going to talk about this thing that I'm really interested in. That's helpful, but when they're doing the search function, which I'm talking about right now, that's where we want to have those keywords so that when people search and they're just going, whatever your topic is, right? So if you're trying to look for Periscope tips, well, make sure that in your bio you've got Periscope tips so that you will be listed when people search for any of the keywords that they happen to be interested in. So that's one thing. And well, and also one of the other things you want to do is you want to make sure that the bio not only has keywords, but it's really, really clear about what you talk about, right? So that, and I'm going to say why that's important in my third tip for today, because you want, when people go look at your profile when you're on other people's scopes, it's really clear so they can go, oh yeah, I totally want to know this, and they'll follow you. All right. So that leads us to number 3. All right, thank you so much for the hearts. Again, if you're new, a couple people said they were new. The hearts, you just tap the screen and it lets me know that you're finding value in what I'm talking about. Is basically all it is. You can give up to 500 hearts in a scope. All right? All right, and I'm trying to like go to it and get to it, not mess around too much. I did an hour-and-a-half scope a couple of days ago. I just started scoping just to practice. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's a great way to use it as well. Hey Pat, how's it going? All right, so number 3, find influencers and other people talking about what it is you're going to talk about and moderate their scope. And what I mean by moderate their scope, I've got multiple things that I suggest that you do. And that's if they say a URL, like I did earlier, I said, what was it? epicjair.com/join me, right? When they say a URL like that, you type it into the comments for them so that everyone else can see that. All right, like what Ethan does. Exactly. Ethan's a great example of that. That's one of the ways that I also got, the 70 followers that or so that I had before I got started, was by moderating other people's scopes. And then another thing is if they do a Q&A, ask really good questions. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. I heard my name. Oh, yep, got to look back at the screen, Ethan. You want to really ask good questions. So if they give that Q&A and go, hey, any questions? Think of something really good. And the reason is because when people start seeing your name coming up, one of the things that sometimes the broadcasters do or the scopers do is they will say, oh, hey, thanks, Ethan, for posting that. Right? Or thanks, Pat, for writing in that URL. And one thing I noticed is when I was doing this, I would ask a really good question, or I'd write in that URL, and then they'd go, hey, thanks for that. And then I'd have 2 or 3 people follow me. And I think what happens is, see, you can, when a comment comes up, you can tap that comment, it'll bring up a little menu, and it'll say view profile. And see, people can view your profile and go, oh, he talks about some things that I'm interested in, and they can follow you. So that's the whole reason behind becoming this moderator, is so that you kind of get in front of other people that will be interested in the same kind of things that you're going to talk about. That has happened to me, and I was surprised. Yeah, so let's use it as an actual strategy, and not only will it help you get followers, I mean, it completely helps the people that you're in, and they're scoping. Right? So, so if they ask things too, sometimes people will go, hey, so does this happen to you? Actually answer. Take part. And a lot of times if you say something really good, you give a really good answer as well, more people will follow you. These are the ways that it happened to me. Like each time I would go in, I would answer the question that the guy was talking about or the girl was talking about, and then I'd get another couple of followers, right? So that's another one. Let me see. I've got a couple. Oh yeah, engage with the host as much as possible. It's funny now, yeah, you're going to give it a try. That's awesome. One thing I don't do a whole lot is you might see if you've been in other people's casts, they'll go, oh, if you want to hear the next tip that I have, say the word coffee bean. Like I don't really do a whole lot of that, but and I don't type it in when people do that, and I'm just somebody viewing it. But if there is a chance to engage, absolutely do it. Again, any chance for your name to come up, yep, coffee bean, you did it anyway. There you go. So you want to engage with the person, because I'll tell you one time that I got pretty much the most viewers from doing this engagement like this was there was a guy that I actually bought his Periscope course. And when I came in, he was talking about his Periscope course, and I said, "Hey man, I went through your course. I absolutely love it." So he said my name. "Oh my gosh, you loved it. That's great." And then he had an interaction with me for like 5 minutes, at which point, I don't know, I got like 22 or something like that followers because we went back and forth. He would ask me a question and he would sit there and wait for me to answer. And then he was like, "Thank you so much, Jeremy Franson, for buying my course. Thanks for telling us about it." You know what I mean? And we had that interaction and I got a lot of followers for doing that. Right? So there you go. Those are some of the things. Just while you're in other people's scopes, again, the ones that are influencers in your category, or even they don't even have to be influencers yet. Like when I started, some of the people that I was following were just getting started too in the same category. Like it's funny because 3 weeks ago, Ethan that you see here in the group, I can't remember how many people you had at the time, but you know, like I would go into Chris Ducker, who's a friend of mine, business-wise. I'd go into his scope, and he would have, 200 people in there, and you can't even comment. He can't even see what's going on. There's just too many people in there. But I would go into Ethan's, and he was talking about some Periscope stuff, and I was able to interact with Ethan, and I would watch Ethan actually interact with other people, right? And so, even though at the time Ethan wasn't this, like the same level as Chris Ducker, I was able to go in and interact, and people would follow me based on our interactions, and that was awesome. So don't just go after the super big influencers where there's basically anything over like 300 people in the room and they barely even see the comments, because there's going to be 40 people commenting all the time, and it's really hard for them to be able to interact, and it's basically the luck of the draw that they happen to look down at the screen and just one or two they might see, right? So you don't just want to go for those guys either. Go into any room where you can get and add value. Absolutely. And these are kind of those steps. This is that third tip, is finding those ways that you can add value, and people like it when you add that value. And you have a chance for the host to even give you that shout out as well because you're adding that value. Makes sense, Ethan. Thanks. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Adding value. Absolutely. So there you go. There are the three things. I'm going to do a little recap. Please ask any questions if you have it. I'll stay here for a little while longer. Those were the three I was going to give you. That was it. This is a little more bite size than I normally do. You do a great job interacting. Thanks. Make the internet a better place. Ah, yes. Okay, so number one, let me get them up here. Got my little outline here. Tell people that you follow in all other social media areas to come follow you on Periscope. Make sure, news for Internet Business Mastery, yeah. Make sure that you have a little page that makes it super easy for your followers in all the other places that you can, whether it's on social media or whether it's an email list or a podcast or anything else you do. Make sure to have a page that helps them follow you incredibly easily. Pretend they don't know nothing, because most of the time they don't know how to do any of it. So make it a quick and easy step by step. That's number one. Nice. Yeah, thank you, Pat. The next thing is make sure to add keywords to your Periscope profile, as well as being very, very clear about what you talk about, so that when people do click on the comments and stuff that you're putting in other people's scopes, they can see what you are about, helping them decide that, yeah, I totally want to follow this guy. Because look at how valuable he is, and it's not even his scope, right, or her scope, and they're giving all this value. That's the number two way, actually. And then number three is find influencers and other people talking about the same type of stuff that you plan on talking. Go into their scope and add a ton of value, so that it gives a chance for other people to see your value and want to follow you because of that. All right? All right, so there's the three. Any questions? Thanks for do you use hashtags for keywords? I don't a whole lot. Sometimes I use the Periscope hashtag, and then I have two hashtags that I'm using, and I'm trying to brand to the stuff that, thank you, Ryan, for putting that up. I'm using my own hashtags really right now. There you go, Jeremy. Great scope. Thanks so much. Thanks for putting up that URL, Jeremy. Badass. Thanks, Ryan. Any other questions? I'll answer anything about the Periscope stuff. Just followed Ethan. See? That's exactly how it should be. Okay, so mic that I'm using. It is, oh my gosh, I totally just drew a blank. I've got it right here. Mic's on Amazon. Okay. It is called the Rode SmartLav Plus. It was about $60. It's pretty good. It's a little loud if I get it too close to me right here because I talk very loud. So I actually pin it way down here. So that's the mic that I use. And actually, I got some crazy stuff. I went a little crazy. Yeah, there you go, right there. I went a little bit crazy. I bought stuff because I hate typing with my fingers, so I bought the little Bluetooth keyboard to be able to type because I have an iPad right here. Do you think Periscope should be any up and coming influencer's main platform? Absolutely. If this speaks to you, if it seems like you would enjoy this particular process, you should absolutely do it. That's why we're hearing your stomach growling. Yeah, I need that. Scoper Secrets is a group on Facebook. Yes. So yeah, if you want, basically I do scope notes. Anything I talk about in here, I'll put a link to in the scope notes, but you have to go to the Facebook group, and that's right up here, bit.ly/Scoper Secrets. You can take a little shot of that, and if anybody wants to be of value and type that in right there. But man, I just got a light package, because right now you can see the light is kind of weird in here because I got the west light coming right in my face, and I'm gonna even that stuff out. How much time do you take to prepare for each scope? It's different for each scope, but I don't know. I probably took about a half an hour to gather some things and think about what I wanted to do. Hey, Ethan, actually, another Ethan in the room. And how long should they be? I'll tell you what. People are saying all different things. I did an hour and a half scope on Saturday, and about the lowest I've been able to do, because I'm a chatter, is about 40 minutes. And it completely depends on your audience. If you're getting engagement, you can continue as long as people are still asking questions. When you're done giving the value that you're going to give, add the questions part. If it starts slowing down, that's about the time that I go. Yeah, there we go. Jeremy adding some more value there for me. Thanks. I have scoped in my car, phone on dash. I think well while driving. Not recommended though. Yeah, I know there was one guy that pretended like he was scoping, and it was really a replay, and he acted like he got in a crash because he was scoping while driving, to tell people, please don't scope while driving. But yeah, so as far as the time goes, back to the time thing, really it's about your audience and you. Some people say do 10, 15 minutes. I haven't seen any 10, 15 minutes ones. And Chris is asking about the frequency. Yeah, Alex Pettit is the one who did that video where it looked like he crashed. As far as the frequency, I'm trying to do every day. But really, really, you can find what's right for you. I know a lot of people are saying, figure out what your audience wants. But I'll tell you what, you'll keep going if you make it comfortable for you. And then it doesn't always have to just simply be about quantity. If it's quality, if you're actually really passionate about doing it, if you're passionate about doing it twice a day, then do it twice a day. You'll find the audience that wants that. Some will miss some, but that's okay. They'll go watch the replays. So really, frequency, I say, is up to you as the scoper. And there you go. Someone asked what the hearts are for. The hearts, basically, that's all about if you tap the screen, you give hearts. And that lets me know that you're getting value from what I'm saying. That's basically it. It's just letting me know you like the information. Is your mic Bluetooth? No, it's not. Here, I'll show you. It is a cord. It's a cord that runs up to my iPad. Good feedback for the presenter. Yeah, it's just feedback. That's it. What equipment are you using? Looks like you're using an external cam. Yeah, this is just my makes the presenter feel good. Yes, the hearts. Thank you. This is just an iPad. I actually got the iPad because I tried to use my phone once, and that was crazy trying to look at this phone. Let me see if I got my phone. I'm trying to read your guys' comments on this little thing. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. I'm not that old that I need the glasses or really big type, but the iPad, I'll tell you, works really well for this. I'm sitting a bit back and I'm able to see the comments totally just fine. Small fonts on the comment. A 4S. Ah, yes it is. I'm actually tomorrow they're going to be. I'm imagining announcing the new iPhones, and I'm going to get whatever the new one is finally. After I still have a 4S, I got this probably like 6 months after it came out, and I've had it for years. So I'm not really a big tech guy, but I will get the new one. But this is an iPad, so it's just the internal mic, or I'm sorry, the internal camera on the iPad. That's all I'm using right now. All right. Any other questions? While you're thinking of questions, again, let's see. Any tips on how a musician can use Periscope? What are the hearts for? I just mentioned the hearts. The hearts are just letting me know that you're finding value. You tap the screen. You can tap the screen up to 500 times per scope, just letting me know. That's all it is. You're watching right now on a 4S. Okay, so I've seen musicians, a couple of musicians I've watched using Periscope. One was a singer, and he actually was taking requests, and then he would sing them. It was really awesome to hear his voice, and he was singing them a cappella. Is that what it is? No music. They would just say, "Oh, sing this song," and he would do that. But every now and then he'd go, "Hey guys, follow me on my Facebook group," and he would send people to his Facebook group. At which point, I'm sure he could say, "Oh, my new album's out," or "Here's my new music video," or whatever it is. That was one way. And then I saw somebody playing guitar. And I didn't see him take requests. I didn't stay on very long, but he was saying, "Here's a song that I'm doing that I just wrote. What do you guys think about?" And he played a little bit of it and let people ask him stuff. Okay, just gave you a lot of love. Okay, yeah, thank you. I really, really appreciate that. The hearts there. But that's how I saw somebody using it for music. And even the other night, I went to a concert. I went to the Howard Jones concert, a big guy from the '80s, and I scoped while I was there. He even said, it's funny, I haven't been in a concert for so long, but he said, "You guys can take pictures, you can film, I don't care." He says, "Just don't do flashes because it throws me off." And so I was just sitting there. I was just sitting there with my iPhone, showing him, talking about the song, and then he'd play a song, and I did that a couple of times. But get creative with it. This is your chance to engage with your potential fans or your already fans. Didn't your phone display annoy people around you? Well, first of all, multiple people had their phones doing that. But what I did is I turned down the screen brightness. I turned it absolutely all the way down. And everyone around me did that too. They knew to turn down the brightness. So that was just a side note. He didn't mention that. He probably should. But there you go. Any other questions? Where's my drink? If I'd like to Periscope with you again, how do I do it? How can I find you? Oh, such a great question. The little guy with the number, right now there's a number 29. If you push on that little guy, a screen will come up. You scroll down a little bit, you'll see my name, which is Jeremy Franson. There's a little plus circle. Click that plus circle, and whenever I do a scope, it will notify you that I'm going to do it. And that's one main way. And then the other one is to go to this URL, which is really my Facebook group. And I give replays to things if you miss them. bit.ly/Scoper Secrets. Yeah, you want to hit the plus. There we go. Jeremy's got it, and Nikki's got it. So if you go there, sometimes I'll tell you when I'm going to be doing these ahead of time. And if you missed it, I'll post the replays there. Plus, I'll put notes. Any links that I talked about in here, I'll post them there as well. Puerto Rico. Hello. Welcome. All right. Any other questions? Any other scope questions? I'm about to late to the party. I'll catch the beginning on the replay. Yeah, please do. I did. I'll do a little recap again right now if you want. I just did 3 quick tips, but I went in detail on each of the tips, so the replay will be good. Again, number 1, tell people to follow you from all other social media outlets where you might actually be on, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, wherever it is. Tell people to follow you on Periscope, and make yourself a really quick step-by-step guide showing them how to follow you on Periscope, because most people still don't know. Thanks for the scope, Jeremy. Have an amazing night. You too, man. I'll see you probably tomorrow, right? I'll be scoping in the morning tomorrow. Number 1, and if you have an email list or you happen to do a podcast or a YouTube channel, any of that stuff, also tell them there too that you're going to be doing Periscope, so that you can have a group of people following you before you do your first scope. Tomorrow morning for sure. All right. Hopefully I'm there. The second one is make sure to add keywords into your profile on Periscope. Not only add keywords that people might be searching for about the things that you're going to talk about, but also make sure that it's really clear in your profile what it is, what kind of value you're going to bring. If you're going to talk about dog care, or I don't know, whatever things that people are talking about, you're going to talk about music. I know one of our students at Internet Business Mastery, she has a farm, so she does like farm stuff in the morning, and her bio talked about farming and raising chickens and that kind of stuff. Good stuff. I'm going to follow you. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. So that's number 2. And then number 3 is find influencers and other people talking about the same subject that you're talking about. Go into their scopes and moderate. And that's basically give as much value as you can as a commenter, whether it's writing out URLs that they might say, like if they say any sort of URL, like you saw Jeremy doing a moment ago and Nikki doing, they wrote out what I said in the comments to help other people, just in case they didn't hear me or they didn't get a chance to write it down. Answer questions that the host is asking. Ask them questions. Totally engage with the host, in chance that other people will see you bringing value, hoping that they'll click on your comment, look at your profile, and go, wow, I want to follow this person, and they'll click the plus and follow you. I was able to get about 60, 70, somewhere around that, to follow me before I ever did a scope. See you tomorrow. Love the scopes. All right, man. See ya. And so there's the recap. There you go. I'll see if there's any more questions, and then I'm out for tonight. And tomorrow morning I'm actually I do Periscope secrets, but I also do Epic Life Scope. Definitely check that out. Nice to meet you. Yes, thank you, from Puerto Rico. Can you search Periscope by topic? Yes, you can. That's why I was saying number two. Number 2 is to put keywords into your bio, so that people, that's where it searches for. It searches for names, but it also searches for keywords. So that's where you want to do that. All right. But anyway, so I have another scope that I do. That's usually in the morning. It's about creating an epic life, not just a regular life. We're going to look at all the life hacks and stuff like that to be able to make unbelievable goals happen and have an epic life every single day, not even in the future when you're one day going to get stuff, but actually right now. I do that scope in the morning. Periscope and business tips usually at night, and then sometimes I show some other things, like one of my friends has a TV studio, and I took scope with me and showed, behind the scenes at his studio. Went to the Howard Jones concert, show a bunch of stuff with that kind of stuff as well. All right, that looks like it. Thanks again for the hearts, and thanks for the question. Thanks for engaging, and definitely check out the Facebook group. Come in there and engage there, and anything you might find, share that there. Let's all help each other make this Periscope be incredibly good for us. All right, thanks so much, guys. Talk to you tomorrow.